The theater lights dimmed, and a quiet murmur spread across the audience. It was the final round of auditions for Britain's Got Talent. The crowd had already seen magicians, dancers, and singers who could melt hearts, but no one expected what was about to happen next. A slender girl with trembling hands walked onto the stage, clutching a small, scratched violin. Her name was Amelia Grace, just 14 years old. Her eyes were wide, not with confidence, but with fear. Simon Cowell leaned forward, curious. "Hello, sweetheart. What's your name?" "Amelia," she whispered, her voice almost breaking. Amanda Holden smiled softly. "And what will you be doing for us tonight?" Amelia took a deep breath. I'll be playing the violin. A song I wrote for my dad." The judges nodded, unaware of the storm of emotion about to hit the room. Amelia's father had been a violinist himself. He taught her how to hold the bow, how to listen to the silence between notes, and how to pour emotion into every string. He used to tell her, "Music doesn't need words, Amy. It speaks straight to the soul." But 6 months before the audition, tragedy struck. Her father had been driving home from a late-night performance when a drunk driver ran a red light. He never made it home. Since that day, Amelia hadn't spoken much. Her mother had tried to console her, but nothing worked. The only thing that brought her comfort was the violin her father had left behind, its varnish chipped, strings slightly frayed, but full of memories. When she saw the BGT audition announcement, her mother whispered, "Play for your dad, Amelia. Let him hear you, wherever he is." Back on the stage, Amelia raised the bow to her violin. For a moment, she froze. The audience waited, breathless. Then, she began to play. The first note quivered through the air like a fragile heartbeat. The sound was haunting, pure, and raw. Every stroke of the bow told a story, of loss, love, and an unspoken goodbye. Within seconds, the entire auditorium fell silent. Even Simon, known for his unshakable composure, blinked rapidly. Then came the moment, an aching high note that soared above the crowd. It was like the sound of a child calling out to heaven, begging for one more moment with someone she loved. People in the audience started crying. A mother held her child closer. A man in the back row wiped his tears without shame. When the final note faded, Amelia lowered her violin. Her small chest rose and fell rapidly as the hall sat in utter silence. Then, the crowd erupted. A standing ovation, cheers, whistles, applause that echoed like thunder. But Amelia just stood there, her hands shaking, eyes glistening with tears. Amanda was the first to speak. "Amelia," she said softly, standing up, that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard." Simon nodded, his voice unusually gentle. "You didn't just play the violin, you spoke to every single one of us tonight." Amelia tried to smile, but tears streamed down her face. "It was for my dad," she whispered into the mic. He used to say I'd play on this stage one day." There was a gasp in the audience. Simon pressed his lips together, visibly emotional. Then, without a word, Amanda reached forward and slammed the golden buzzer. Gold confetti exploded into the air. Amelia gasped and looked up as the glitter rained down, her hands covering her face. Her mother, watching from backstage, burst into tears. A stagehand guided her out, and she ran into her daughter's arms. For a moment, the noise, lights, and cameras faded away. It was just a mother and daughter, holding each other under a shower of gold. The next morning, Amelia's audition clip went viral. Within hours, the title, legendary red exclamation mark golden buzzer audition that broke BGT history, was trending everywhere. Millions watched the video. People commented things like, "I don't usually cry, but this broke me." You can feel her father's presence in that performance. This wasn't just talent. It was love. News channels replayed her story. Music critics praised her emotional depth. Celebrities tweeted support. But for Amelia, the fame wasn't what mattered. Every view, every share, every tear someone shed while watching her performance, it all felt like a message to her dad. "They heard me, Daddy. They really heard me." Weeks later, the live finals arrived. The stage was bigger, the pressure higher. But Amelia was calm this time. She wore a silver dress, her father's old bowtie stitched to her wrist like a charm. Her performance was an original composition called "The Light Beyond." It began softly, then grew into a soaring, cinematic piece. At one point, a screen behind her lit up with photos of her and her father, playing, laughing, living. By the end, the crowd wasn't just clapping, they were crying. Simon stood up, visibly moved. "You are exactly why we do this show," he said. "To find real, raw talent that reminds us what being human feels like." When the final votes were counted, Amelia didn't win the season, but it didn't matter. Her audition was replayed millions of times around the world. People called it the most emotional golden buzzer in BGT history. A year later, Amelia performed at the Royal Variety Show in London. The same violin in her hands, but a new fire in her eyes. She looked up before playing, smiling softly as if to someone unseen. In her heart, she could almost hear her father's voice again. "I told you, Amy. You'd play on that stage one day." The music began, soft, celestial, transcendent. And for everyone watching, it felt like heaven itself was listening. Amelia Grace went on to become one of the youngest classical crossover artists in the world. Her debut album, Golden Strings, broke records for a classical release. But she never forgot that night, the trembling hands, the silence before the first note, and the rain of golden confetti. Every time someone asked her how it felt, she'd smile and say, "It wasn't about winning. It was about finally saying what I never got to say to my dad." And somewhere in the echoes of her music, people believed that love, real love, never dies.